Okay, so today's November 5th. So again, like always, we'll start by trying to address any, comments or questions from the last class, right? So, and we already have a few, which is, which is great. So let me just, let's start here by doing a quick recap of what we did in class, last week, right? So I'm sharing my screen. You guys can see everything?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's see here. All right, so let me zoom in here. So last week we did a couple of things, we did, I think, three main things, right? We looked at, the trees, right? How we could change the color of these trees, right? In case we want to make a scene that, defines spring or autumn or, let's say winter, right? So we looked at, Photoshop, how we can, do a duplicate of each material of the leaves. And then afterwards, just change the color through Photoshop and then be able to switch, colors as we want, right? Next, we also went here, right? And we made this piece of glass over here to be translucent, right? More like a white color, right? And make the whatever's behind the glass to appear more blurry, right? That was one thing we did. And last, we took the idea of V-Ray fur, right? And we apply it to this very small section, right? Just because, it's a very time-consuming element and it's pretty heavy on the rendering, so you don't want to apply it to the whole thing. So we did a very small patch there, and then we looked afterwards, how else could we use this plugin besides just, let's say grassy, right? So we're seeing that we could create, landscape elements here, right? Could be like a garden scape, or we could even create very quickly, things like this for your model, right? It could be a plant or a pot, and have some, very kind of modern looking, green elements there. And there's only a few things we could create. You can probably think of other things that could apply to, to us. It could be maybe, it even could be like a chandelier, hanging from the ceiling, right? When you can, you can even apply to these strands. You don't have to really apply grass. You can even apply glass, right? And then you can create kind of a very cool effect, with these things, right? So many things you can actually try and do with this plugin, right? All right, so regarding those three things, any of these things still confusing, or anyone have any problems? So I assume silence means that you guys are okay, right? No comments.
Yeah, I think we're good with that.
Okay. All right, so Sergio, you said that your 2D trees, right? So these over here, right, are not visible when you render?
Yeah, they're not visible.
All right, so let's see if can you share your screen?
You have to enable the participant.
Yes, okay. Let me do that 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I have them, I place them around the
Mhm.
scene, but I don't see any of those. Like in all of my renderings, like
Okay.
I can never see, like, let's see this one. On this one, I have some, like you can see there's like a lot, but when I try to render it, it doesn't show.
Okay. Can you try to close this rendering window for a second here, and then open up, unhide your sky dome? That could be a problem so there. So okay, you see how you some of your trees, if you look at your bottom left, right, some of your trees are behind the sky dome, right? That means the sky dome is blocking the tree. So really, the sky dome really doesn't matter how big it is. Just make it, just click on the sky dome and go to the scale and make it big enough to cover all those trees, right? It's still gonna look the same because it's a very large element. So make it bigger, and now it's like that. That's pretty good. Yes. It's still gonna look the same because it's a very large element. And now your trees are inside the sky dome. Before, they were outside, so that's why you couldn't see them.
Oh, okay. I see. I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, I see them now.
And you see,
Yeah,
the sky still looks good, just because the sky is such a big element that scale doesn't really apply to the sky. It could be big or small, it will look the same. So there we see all the
okay.
trees.
Yeah, there they are.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Excellent. All right, you're welcome. All right, good. Any other, so everyone tried the V-Ray fur and worked out okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I work on mine fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right, great. So again, we're starting now to refine our work, right? So let's, let me go back to my screen here. So we're close to, I think, soon switching to night, right? So I want to refine still a few things here in our model, because now we have, first of all, we have now kind of our camera sets, you know, in the right place. You know, we might have to fine tune them a bit, that we can try today. And I want to start to also add to the cameras some amount of decor, meaning like a chair or two, right? To give the experience of somebody, you know, being there, right? And if you look, you know, let's go back here to that folder I gave you guys of all the different, let's see here, let me find it, like this, right? We had seen, you know, these photographs, you know, these were done by a professional photographer. And you can see that almost every shot here, right, has a chair, right? You know, the chair is a nice thing for, you know, decor, right? It's there to give the space scale, because this building being so simple, it's hard to judge, you know, how big this bench is, you know, you might think it's a foot, you might think it's 5 feet. It's hard to tell, right? So by adding a chair, again, it gives the idea that somebody could be here sitting, right? And second, it gives, you know, scale factor to this rendering. Same thing here, right? We have the chair here framed, you know, so a person could be sitting here viewing this area. So, and the chair tends to appear in different areas of the scene, right? So I want to start adding some of these chairs here, so we can start to refine our, you know, our viewports, and then we can really focus on lighting, right, and other things. So this chair, I'll give it to you guys. You know, it's I have a really nice detailed chair of the Barcelona chair. Actually, we have to also, before I forget, make this, right. This is it's a curtain, right, and it's found. Let's see. Again, the chair's there. Where is it here? There it is. You know, it's along this wall, pretty much in front of the carpets, where you find this kind of this curtain here. I put in my notes before I forget. Okay. So let's start today by putting some chairs, right, around the space, you know, depending on the view, and then afterwards we'll start working on building this kind of a curtain that's, you know, there. So again, the chairs, it's already a 3D model, right? So I'll give you guys the model like I do always, right? And we can just drag and drop it to our scene, right? So I'll give you guys this model here, right? So simply, like always, you know, just also, you know, make sure that you copy the model, right? Control copy, right? And then I'm gonna copy it into my personal folder, like we discussed last week, right? So everything's inside the same folder. And then from here, I'll just take it, drag it, and do merge, right? Did I already do this before? Did I chair already on site? I forgot, right? Did I put a chair before here? Let me see. I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think you did.
Let's call it, I'm gonna call it, in case you get this, you know, just call it Barcelona Chair, right? And do apply, do here auto rename merge, right? So it'll give every material a new name. Okay, then we can just drop it here, right? And close this. All right, so this chair comes with a lot of extra stuff that we don't need, right? So make sure to delete, right? So again, this is from last week that we don't need. This lamp we don't need. So this camera we don't need. So all we're keeping is this, right? And right now the chair that we have here should already come with materials, right? So if we open our material tab, we can just do a quick check here. Let's see where I can go here. Let's say I go here to this one here. I'll use the eyedrop tool, right? I'll click on the base here. And we can see it already has, you know, like a chrome looking material. So that's already set. And then this part here, which is leather, right? If we click on the leather, it doesn't really rely on a material. It's simply a color, you know. So in this case, the color is here, right? You see diffuse, right? And we have this kind of yellow color here. So in this case, it has like a yellow leather, right? We could go in here, right? If I click here, right, to this part, And we could change here. Let's see. These things here, if you see, but ideally these things are not really the color, right? This is just the diffuse, and you see here by the diffuser, there's an M, right? So what that means, you know, is, as you guys know, is when there's an M next to the diffuse, it means it's a material that overrides this color, right? So although this thing looks like it's beige here, it's really not, right? And if we go down here to, we have the materials, right? We have diffuse, right? We have here one called map number 1, and it's called Falloff, right? So Falloff here is just, you know, it's just 2 colors that you could blend here. In this case, both colors are kind of charcoal gray, right? So if I go here, right? And I rely not so much on the preview that I see in the chair, but the preview I see here on the on my material tab. And we see that it's kind of like a charcoal gray color here. If I go here and I change this color here, let's say we'll make it red, right? And now my preview, it's a red, you know, leather looking chair, right? So we can make those changes there, right? This chair, you know, originally came in white, brown, and black. But of course, now you can find it in pretty much any color you want, right? So for now, let's just, you know, take this here. And we'll try to place the chairs depending on our camera viewports, right? So let me take this and I'll do first group it here. I want to get first the right location. So I'm going to select also the ground plane for the building and do isolate these 2 things here. This way I can move the chair here somewhat and I can see if it's actually flat on my platform. And when I look here, it's pretty good, right? A little bit below the, but that we can just fine tune here, make sure it's touching just the you know, the platform here. All right, so now we have the right place. So now let's go through our cameras, right? So let's go through first one here, which is the Bookstore Camera, right? And we'll do a little bit of, you know, placing here. And let's just take our, I mean, this group has 3 elements, right? We probably don't need 3, but you know, we can start with that. And again, the idea here is to set up a scene where you can imagine somebody kind of sitting here, right? So I think for this part, I'm going to move this behind here. Let me ungroup it. And I want to have just this ottoman and the chair for this scene here. And I'll do shift to copy, right? And I'll copy as an instance, right? And then, you know, just start to, and right now, first of all, the chair is facing, very important is how the chair is facing. And right now it's facing away, right? So I want my eye to look this way, right? Which is down, you know, the scene here. So this chair should be facing the other direction to enhance my viewport. So I'm looking in that direction. So it could be like this, maybe like this, could be also look good. And then I want to try to make it fit on my bottom left corner of my scene here. So I could imagine myself sitting here and looking down this space, right? Because I already have kind of this thing already here, right? This kind of a, you know, whatever I made last week, right? So and again, don't worry about what it looks like in the top view, right? Just check what it looks like in the viewport. So I'm gonna try to make it as close as possible there, make the chair, you know, so it looks bigger. Kind of like this. We'll give a nice view. So I guess you can imagine sitting here and looking, you know, in this direction, right? Let's just take a look at the chair here quickly and see what it looks like here. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. This looks pretty ugly here, right? So I might just, I did this as a test last week, so I might just take that out. All right, the chair doesn't look too bad. Let's see. Let's actually just take out this thing here. I don't like this anymore. So now that I took it out, you know, maybe this chair can move a little bit more. here, which I think looks a little better looking down the scene here. All right, so we have, let's say, one chair here, right? The next thing that we want to also try to arrange for every camera that we have is, I want to try to create the perfect lighting for every scene, right? So that means that for every camera that I have, I might have also its own sun, right? And later, like we discussed before, we can turn the suns off and on as we need them to be, right? Right now we have this sun here, right? And this sun here, I have, it's called stairs, you know, works really nice for this camera here, right? Because it gives me all the shadows for this area. But for this shot here, I don't think it works that well, you know, because so I don't think it's, so for now, I'm gonna take this sun and turn it off, right? Now this sun that I have here, I'm gonna change the name of this sun to Bookstore, right? So I know that this sun is tied to my first camera that is also called Bookstore, right? So, and now we can pick the sun and we can turn it on, right? All right, so the first thing for this shot, you know, I believe last time we had it, I did add, you know, all these trees here to create some amount of kind of shadows, right? But I'm also gonna take, actually, no, let's take these trees here. I'm gonna copy this right here. Again, these trees are there only to create shadows, right? Instance, right? I'm going to rotate them like this, right? Because I want to create shadows along here, right? Just to make it more interesting. So I'm gonna take these trees and put them along here, let's say, right? And that means that I'm gonna take this sun and we'll put it, you know, kind of perpendicular to this here, right? We can see here the sun, you know, coming down. We can see kind of the angle of the sun over here, right? And now we can do a few tests here to see if we like the actual, shadows that we make. Let me just lower the quality of my rendering so we can do it a little bit quicker. Right. So first thing here, right? We don't see much, right? Not many shadows here, so not that good. Okay, that's fine. So this sun, first of all, the light is not very strong, which means the angle is very low, right? So if they go to a higher angle, right, like this, maybe we'll, again, lighting is always the most tricky part and it takes the most time to, because you can't see shadows in real time. You're gonna have to guess where the shadows are going to appear in your renderings. And I'm trying to get some interesting looking shadows. So I'm gonna play with this. Maybe I'll move it here, rotate it a bit here, and just try again. Okay, that looks better. So that's nice because again, it gives this area a very nice subtle quality, you know, that the shadows will make it very soft. You know, again, right now it's very low quality, but we can already start to guess what it looks like, right? So for now, I'm happy with this light, right? And this light seems to work nicely with this, you know, with this scene, right? The trees are okay there. Yeah, so that's pretty good for now. I'm gonna take away this fur on the right, just because you know, it slows down my computer here. So for now, just delete this. We don't need to really, this is more like a practice we did last week. All right, so in this case, I'm happy with the scene, right? We have a sun that works with the scene to make the best shadows, and we have a chair that works with the scene, right? Let's go to the next shot here. Let's go to the entrance shot, which is next. So this one, it is pretty good, right? We already have a sun for this scene, right? This sun is made for the entrance, right? We already have the grass there. We already have the tree. What I put here is, let's put a chair here also as our signature move, you know, for this house, you know. So let's take a chair from here. We can take this one here. Let's do shift. This case, I'll take only the chair, right? I'll do instance. And then let's see where we can put. So here's my chair. Let's see here. And let's make it so it's facing the other direction. Like that, we get like a nice profile of the chair. maybe like this, because imagine in this shot, my main focus is not back here, right, at all, right? My main focus is over here, right? This area here. So in that case, I'm gonna put the chair looking in that direction. So this when the person looking at the screen has an idea where he could sit and where he's going to be looking at. So in this case, this is why the chair is facing in this direction. And we can just, like that, a very small detail that brings the focus back to this area here. So this shot is pretty much, I think, done. We have the lighting already correct. We have the furniture, one piece. We have the tree that creates a nice frame. We have the grass. What's missing in this shot is we have to put the curtain here that covers up pretty much just the area behind the carpet. So we'll do that, afterwards. Okay. For now, do you guys understand the process here? The idea?
Yeah.
Any comments or questions? Are you guys good?
Yeah, we're good for now.
Yeah. Okay.
Professor, I had a question.
Sure.
So when it comes to like the materials, like, is there a way to add like more slots for the materials? Because I think I used up like all the spaces for materials.
Yeah, that we discussed a couple of times already, but again, this area here is limited to, you can't add any more. What you can do is you can replace things that you already have, right? So for example, let's see here, this kind of black tile, right? This black tile, it's used only once, in the inner pool, right? Once I apply it, then it's applied, If I need to make a new material, I could go here, right? And I can say, get material, right? I can go here to via material and replace the tile with a new one, right? And make a new material. That tile, just because I replaced it here, it didn't change the other one that I applied it. It's still there, right? So if I go here to my model here, it's still the black tile there, right? Nothing has changed. If I want to ever go back and edit this tile, make it bigger, maybe smaller, all you do, right, is really select the tile. So we can do isolate, right? And just in any of these areas here, just do the eyedrop tool, select it, and it's gonna bring back the tile to any of those areas. And you can, again, make it bigger or smaller, or even change the material. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I think we're good with this shot also, right? We can do a quick, test here. Just make sure that actually I change. So again, when you do this, make sure that things are on where they should be. And right now, this light needs to be off. And this sun needs to be on. That's where it gets a little bit confusing. And just do a test again. And just give it a second here. All right, so good. So we have our scene is pretty well. We have this chair here, right? This chair is again seen in the reflection over here, right? And we can see the chair over there, which is not a big deal. We can leave it there. And yeah, that looks like a nice shot, for now. What do you guys think? Again, you guys can also be critical, if you want to try something else, if you think something looks out of place, please let me know, right? All right, it looks like you guys are okay. So let me stop this. Okay, so let's go to the next shot here. So my next shot here is the green wall, which is this one here. So this shot, I'm not so satisfied yet that I like this shot, but I do like a shot that I saw here. Let's see here in the photos here. Oops. And we can always, again, I think this one here, I was trying to copy this shot over here, right? So it was pretty, it was okay, yeah, this shot's not that bad, we were trying to show this green wall. There was one shot also here that was, I think, let's look what we have here. We have this shot, this one. This is also not a bad looking shot, looking straight on at our scene here. Anything with a chair. This one here. That also looks like a pretty cool shot, It just looks to be low to the ground, right? straight on here. So, and the chair is there, you know, so what do you guys like better, this shot or this one here? Come on, guys, you guys tell me.
This one,
Which one?
I like this one.
So the one on the left side or the right side?
The left.
So this one here, moving here.
I agree. I like the left side too.
Okay, so let's try to, yeah. Again, I'm gonna create here 20 cameras. So let's change this shot to look kind of like this shot, you know, and let's see how, you know, the first thing is, you know, the camera is right here, right? Pretty much looking straight on at this line here, right? So let's see if we can do that. And again, I'm working with multiple screens. So I'm gonna open up this photo of my other screen and try to adjust it as we go here. So let's do it here. So I know it's this camera here, right? First thing I'll do here is the camera, first of all, needs to be completely straight, right? So here has to be completely, you know, straight enough from here. Like that. We can see our shot over there, right? Then I'm going to select top and bottom so we can kind of move like this, right? Not quite sure why everything here turned black in my screen. It's still fine there, yeah. Maybe something with the viewport here, but okay, not a big deal, I guess. 1 second, let me do a quick test rendering here. Yeah, it still looks good. I'm not sure why the viewport looks strange. Let's try something else. Let's go to performance. Then let's go back to standard. Let's try high quality. Nope.
So can I say something?
Sure, of course.
A straight shot, doesn't it lack depth? Like
It might, yes, it might lack a little bit of depth. Yes, exactly. Yes. In this case, we're going for more like the, I guess, artistic, you know, effect, you know, here.
right.
But you're right. Yes. Yeah, it kind of puts everything because it's you don't see too much the layers, right? Although here, you know, it's not that bad. You know, in this case, you know, our chair will be our foreground, right? Our green wall will be our middle ground, and looks like this wall and everything else will be our, you know, background. What's lacking in this shot, you know, that I don't like is that it has no shadows, right? So I think we'll you know, we'll pick our own sun and we'll change here that we'll add some shadows to this shot here. But right now it's kind of,
The line in the middle makes it look like it's two different images.
yes, which is kind of interesting, right? It is an effect that's used quite a lot, you know, in photography, right? You take an actual photograph and you make it look like it's actually, you know, almost like a Photoshop, I don't know, a collage, right, of two images.
Right, and it has a little bit of shadow when the line cuts on the right side.
Yes, yeah. So you see here, here, right, a little bit.
Yeah.
So we can start with that idea here. I mean, in my shot here, looks like I'm not so perfectly aligned, so not really a big deal, but oops.
Thank you for.
Oh, you're welcome here. Actually, we can fix it here, right? You see this line here, right? I don't know why my ceiling is looking completely black. It's you know, it looks like to be okay, but so what I'm gonna do here is this line needs to align with the black line. So I'm going to let's take our material here and we'll find the back wall material, which is marble base here, this one here. And we can go to its, well, no, let's select it and let's go to the, here to the map scaler, right? And we can move it here, left and right. Let's see here. Yes, that works. I'm just gonna try to move it a little bit to align as much as possible. And that looks pretty good, right? Now the floor needs to move again. So we'll pick the floor material, right? Here. Let's go back to the map scaler here and we'll play with the offset again, the U offset, and move it a little bit to the right. And that aligns pretty good, you know, close enough. So if we look at the camera here, you know, the idea is to get this line looking completely straight, you know, for the most part, right? So that looks pretty good. Again, you know, this shot, you know, the one here and the actual photograph, it's a much wider angle, so we see more stuff in our scene, which is fine, but at least it's pretty close, right? What's the next thing that we need to modify in this shot to get a little bit closer, to our, if you guys compare left and right.
You gotta move the camera up because it's a little too on the ground.
Yes, up or
The
down.
trees.
Yeah, the trees will leave them as it is because it'll be hard to find the same trees in the scene here. But let's at least try to move the camera here. Okay, let me try to, and I'm gonna move the camera now up and down until I can kind of match whatever I see here, right? So I know that I see a little bit of the ceiling there. I mean, also could be, but the camera looks to be much lower, right? So that means the camera is lower here. Because can you guys see here how the chair, right? It's gonna looking above the bench, right? So I think the best thing for us to do here is bring a chair, right? So we can start to estimate this. So I'm gonna take this chair from here. Let's just copy this chair, bring it to roughly where it's meant to be. Let's say here, right? Do instance, right? And we can see here, the main difference here is that this chair is way above the bench right here, which means that my cameras will be much lower, right? The camera in my scene is still fairly high. So let's, again, select top and bottom of my scene. I'll move the camera down. There we go. Until I'm able to kind of get that shot that I want. Again, this is where it gets tricky because you might have to move the camera a little bit forward, a little bit backwards. Looks like I'm trying to match here. And I think in this case, our front of the camera is higher than the back one. So I'm gonna pick only the front of the camera and raise it up like this. But you see, even all the way up, I can't see. So that means that, no, we have to move, in that case, the camera back more. Like this here. And then we'll pick the front of the camera to go like this higher until we are able to see this part here, right? The next problem that we have here when I do this, right, is that again, we are able to see the top part of this, but what's wrong with these walls?
They're not straight.
They're not straight, right? So, and again, that's a very typical thing that is just perspective, right? When you move the camera upwards, lines that are vertical start to appear like they're stretching, right? And in here in this shot, it's actually everything looks straight, So it's simply just a special lens that's used to correct the lines. And in our case, there's a setting we can use to force these lines to be straight, right? So if I click on the camera right here, you go here to the properties, right, on the right side. Let's go to, click on the camera, right? Let's go down here. Just scroll down all the way. Go to where it says, I believe is, let's see, no, here, perspective control, right? In here, the last setting here called auto vertical tilt control, that will force every line to be perfectly straight. So watch what happens to this viewport when I click on this tab here. Right? It just forces every line to be straight, right? So it looks much better. So again, no matter if I go higher or lower, it's gonna be always straight. So that's here. So I went higher, and now we're starting to get close to our shot, right? We have only a little bit of a ground, which is fine. We have a lot of ceiling being shown here, which is good. The chair, it's starting to be, so now the chair is getting better. We just gotta move it a little bit, I think, forward like this. Maybe to the left side. Again, if you want to get it perfect, it will take a lot more time. But, I could spend here hours and hours moving things up and down. For now, I think it's pretty close to our image. I mean, what do you guys think?
I think it looks good.
It looks close enough, right? So
Yeah.
again, these things are just they're easy. They're just time consuming to move things up and down. But for now, I think it looks pretty good. Maybe this chair, we'll just give it a quick rotation to here, right? All right, so the last thing here is we have a chair, you know, so you can be here looking at the view. It's light, right? And what I might do first, you know, is I might even test out the sun that I already have from here. You know, this way, maybe there's no need to create, you know, 5 different suns, right? So first of all, this sun is probably not good because it's coming from behind, right? So let me turn this on off here. However, this sun, right, which is coming from here, might not be so bad. So let's just try this sun here, which is the one from the bookstore. And maybe we can use it again for our shot. If not, we'll make, you know, another sun and decide what it looks like. All right, so definitely have to fix the sky. I saw that already. And actually, that doesn't look bad at all. I like that line here, right? I like the shadows that are being created here, right? What do you guys think?
I like it.
All right, so in that case, let's fix the sky, you know, very easily. So let's do unhide all, right? Let's go to materials. We'll click on the sky dome and find the this one here. And we can see there's a line right there. So simply just, you know, pick the sky dome, rotate it until, you know, we don't see it. So, and we can see, you know, what part we like here. That looks pretty good like that. Then we go back and apply the other one. And then we do a test rendering. Okay, that looks pretty good. So yeah, I think that looks not bad at all. Yeah, the chair looks good. We get some nice shadows. The light is nice. It gives you a nice clean line. We still see a lot of the wall and it's still reflected. So we see a few details there. So I think this is actually a nice looking shot. And yeah, I mean, even in this shot, you know, also if you want to give it scale, right? Remember that last week we had a guy that we put here, right? To give us the idea of the, you know, the blurred glass. We could take this person here, just do a copy of this guy here, right? And let's put it over here as an instance, right? If you want to give it kind of more scale to the space, right? You see, you guys can see the guy there, right? And now we can render again. It should look pretty good because, you know, it's a photograph. And now we'll be able to, you know, add some life to this space, right? And again, we can give some scale. And the nice thing is that it also, because it's the, you know, it's a 2D map, it does give us a nice shadow, right? Which again, will make it, this scene, again, before we discuss the scene, looks a bit flat, right? But by adding the chair and this person here, if I move the person a little bit further back in the wall here, then we might be able to get a better shadow. So let me take this guy here, move it further back in the scene here. So we can get a stronger shadow or a bigger shadow here. And that will make it a little bit more 3-dimensional. What do you guys think?
Honestly, I'm not a fan of the person right there.
That's
I
fine.
like
Yeah, I
it
mean,
better
Yeah, I
without
was just gonna say it looks fake.
it does. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So also because, you know, because the guy is 2D, right? Then when the light hits it, you know, it looks overexposed, right? So, you know, this guy might look better, you know, in a where a shadow, or in this case, yeah, I think maybe we would just take it out. So in that case, simply, you know, we can just delete this and that's gone. So I think this shot now looks pretty good to me. So this is our third shot. Let's go to the next one here, which is the inner pool. This shot doesn't need much, right? We do want to put a chair still here. So let me hide the sky dome. And let's just take this one, shift. There, actually, this is actually looking nice here already. Instance. Again, the idea here is to, and always try to put, you know, bottom left, right, as much as possible, and try to make the chair looking at the actual statue like that. And that's pretty much all that we add. You know, we already have Well, now the thing we have to figure out is the sun, right? What sun is best for this shot, you know? So let's try, again, let's try this sun here as a test and see what it looks like. See if we like it. Not really, because it's coming from the back, so it means that all this isn't kind of in shadow. So I'm not sure if I like this. Oh, actually, I mean, does create a nice effect here of the light and shadow with the person, right? Which is not bad. And that because this is in light, then you get a very nice reflection in the glass, right? So that's one option, right? Let's see here. Let's turn this light off. And let's try to turn on this light here from the entrance and see what that looks like. Okay. Very different approach to the lighting. What do you guys like? Or should we make a different sun? Come on, guys, what do you think? Do you like any of these two or no?
I like how the sun kind of is like, you can see like the angle from like the wall basically.
From here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is making some shadow here, right? It is kind of going deeper inside, which is actually not bad, right? So it's really not a bad looking shot at all. It gives us plenty of light in the space, right? So we could use the sun, you know, or we can make our own sun, you know, just to be more, have more control, right? I think you guys can decide if you want to make, I don't know, I feel like maybe it's going a little bit too far back, the sun here. Let me see if we can do something here. So it's not that far out, but let's select here just lights, right? To make it easier. I'm gonna take this sun, just do like this, right? Copy it, not instance, you know, always copy. This one I'm going to turn off. This one I'm gonna change the name to statue. So now it's back there, right? Let's put it here. I'm gonna make
Professor,
yeah.
I just have a question. I don't know if you explained this before. What's the difference between instance and copy?
Oh, okay, it's a good question. Yes. So let's see here. So let's say I take a box right here. If I copy this box, you know, shift here, right? So copy is an exact duplicate, right? That means if I copy 20 boxes, right, they're all completely independent, right? Like here, let's say like, for example, here, I take this box here, right? And I copy it here, let's say 5 times, right? We have 5 exact duplicates, right? You know, and that means that they're all independent. So if I decide that I want to change something in the light, right? In the box, if I go here and I make it, let's say bigger, you know, it's not really, they're all kind of, you know, by themselves, right? So if I go here, make it bigger, again, nothing's going to change. Also, if this box happens to be 5 megabytes and I copy it, you know, this much, it'll be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So now my file's 30 megabytes and it's getting bigger very quickly, right? Let's say I take this box here and I copy against a copy here. And then I copy it again as an instance, right? Again, let's say 5 times, right? The main thing here is that all these copies rely on the first one here. So if this copy is 5 megabytes, the entire thing is still 5 megabytes because each of these copies is relying on the original one. So it means that, you know, you won't be crashing the computer because things get too big, right? Also, because they're all relying on the first one, when I click here and I make it bigger, they will all change at the same time. You know, they're all tied together, right? Whatever I change in these things. The last one here that we have, so the one that I like to use is the middle one, the one called instance. Reference is the same thing, right? If you copy it 5 times, right? They all rely on the first one and they're all still 5 megabytes, nothing's increasing. The only difference here is if I want to change the rest, I have to find the original one to be able to copyright. You see, when I click here and I change the ones here, right? So this is where I got it from, everything changes, right? But when I get all the ones that I copy from, when I click here, it just says box and box and box, right? So it relies on finding the original. So the best one to use is the middle one, which is the instance one. And this is great if you're gonna copy, let's say, trees, right? So these trees are really, as you know, they're highly detailed trees, right? They have tons of leaves and everything that's there. And each of these trees could be 50 megabytes, right? So if I start putting copy, 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 soon you can get, a file that is 1 gigabyte, and you can pretty much the problem with a big file is that it takes time to save. And then when that's happening, it can crash, right? If I copy this tree as instance and put, 200 trees here, that file is still the same size. Nothing has changed in that. So it's good to save the file size and to prevent, when having highly detailed objects from crashing their computer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's try that new sun that we just made. I kind of changed the angle. So, okay, so the light wasn't going so far back. Okay, so we get a little bit of shadows here, which is nice. Let's do a quick change here. Then I'm gonna take again the sun and make it a little higher, like this. Okay, that's the problem. I keep making a change, nothing's happening, but okay, this tree, this sun is off, right? This sun is on. Let's try here. Okay. All right, it's not too bad. Again, we just be here, but just to be clear that we don't make, miss out on anything, let's try to make the sun from the other direction. Let's go from here and see what that looks like, just to get an idea if it's worthwhile to change the sun. Not so much, because then we lose the statue. So the last thing I'll do is I'll put the sun to be not at an angle, but kind of perpendicular to the actual space, like this, straight on. So we get try from here, from here, from here. We tried all different angles. So what that happens is going to give me a lot of light here, right? Which might not be the best thing, because now it gets overly bright, the whole scene, right? So it looks like for us, our best thing to do here is to move the sun back where it used to be, kind of along this angle like this. All right, so at least I'm able to get, some shadows. Okay, what do you guys think of this shot? Do you feel we need more shadows here, or are you guys okay with this?
You don't get a shadow of the statue anymore on the wall.
That's true, yes. So for that to happen, what needs to change with the sun here? It needs to be a little bit more, yes, okay. So I know what you're saying. So, okay, that means our light has to be more from here, right? So then when the light hits here, it's gonna make a shadow there, right? That could be actually very nice. So let's try that. All right, so that's starting to appear there, which is nice, okay. So that means now to get it higher, my sun is very high. So let's lower the angle of the sun. So this way is gonna, and then you see up here, I'm gonna increase the height of this one. So hopefully we get a shadow that's much bigger there. Okay, that looks nice. Let's see. Okay, I mean, we definitely get the statue here, right? Shown. And it's mixed with also other shadows from the trees, which I do like, makes it much softer. So again, that I think, Sergio, this idea of the shadow, this is great. Definitely, it makes the space more three-dimensional, right? In the end, the perfect angle for the sun, again, that takes time to, this to me looks okay. It could be better, but again, I don't want to spend the whole class moving it up and down, left and right until we get the perfect sun. You guys can experiment, right, with the sun, right, and these things. But for now, I think this looks pretty nice. We get a nice shadow here. We get some nice soft things from the leaves, right? The one thing I don't like about this scene is what? What do you guys think? What part?
Oh, the water?
The water, yes. It's again, this is an inner pool, so I think it has too much movement, right? The water. So, and that's something that I didn't change before. So if you go here, I know I had one water for the exterior and one water for the interior. So do you guys think I should make this water have no ripples, or we should make it smaller? What do you guys think? Or very subtle? Any ideas?
I think no ripples might work on this
Okay.
one.
Well, let's try to make it so right now the bump is very high, it's 30, right? So that's why they kind of going up and down this side. So again, so just as a quick reminder here, let me try to annotate. So again, this here, the amount of waves go like this up and down, right? That's controlled by the bump right here, this number here, right? The higher the bump, the more the waves are going to go higher and higher, right? If you go inside here, the noise, right? That's going to control the amount of waves, whether you have like this or, like this, that's control inside. The one outside, again, only controls the height of the wave. So let's start by making this height, very, very low. Let's try like, like 5, going down from, yeah, that one, right? And let's do a quick region here. So that doesn't look too bad, because it's smaller, we get a nice view, right? The water is more calm, right? It's mostly flat, a very slight distortion, right? Which definitely makes it feel like water, right? And we haven't touched, the noise, right? If I go to the noise here, we're at 25, right? So let's say that we go down to like 5, right? Let's see how that changes the effect. So it makes the water like that, which also doesn't look bad. I mean, these all look good, So there's no right or wrong with water, right? It's just what you feel as let's say that as an artist that you think you like most, right? Do you guys, what do you think of this one here?
It looks really nice, actually.
Yeah, so I think so. Yeah, let's leave it there. I think, it gives you the effect of water, right? Very slight distortion, a little bit of wiggling here when the statue. So overall, I think looks pretty good. So in that case, I'm happy with this one, right? For now, let's go to the orange ball, right? So this scene right now is pretty boring, right? There's nothing really happening here, right? And that's because we're lacking a lot of, a lot of stuff here is pretty much lacking here. So let's make it a little better here. And we can try to look at some photographs here. Oops. To see what that scene is meant to look like, or could look like, I guess. Let's see here. All right, so we have here 3 of these things, right? Which we can try that, right? Let's try to put those there, and that's it, simply just this piece over here, right? I'll do to all. This one, right? I'll do again instance, right? Just gonna make them so they're actually straight here. Make sure that the right place, these legs should be like this, right? The way they are there. And then we have, let's say 3 that roughly equally spaced through here, right? So I'll do here, I can copy, right? Let's say as instance, right? And I want 2 extra copies. So we get this, right? Okay, there we are. I know the ones here right now have a white leather that we can decide to change later, you know. For now, everything is black, but we can always make it very easy to change to white or any other color that I want to. So that already gives a little bit of life to the space. Technically here, we also have the other chairs in front, so we can arrange those chairs also. I'm gonna take this one here. And typically these chairs are facing each other here. They're facing like this. And then there's always one on the opposite side facing each other. Again, if you want to get creative and try a different arrangement, that's fine too. So we have those chairs there. And I rely not so much on this view, but on the camera here to decide where to put my chairs, you know. Obviously not here because there's a column right in the middle, right? But we can try to move them a little bit here. It doesn't look too bad. Just to give it some life, you know, right now, otherwise it looks pretty empty, right? And we can kind of fine tune this shot a little bit here. I think what's missing in this shot here is that we can't see the curtain that's meant to be here, right? I'm gonna turn a little bit here. So again, right here with this carpet ends, right? There's going to be a red curtain, right? Again, we can see from this camera, the outside one. From this shot, looks like we have to really, you know, turn a lot to be able to see it. So maybe we're not gonna worry about that shot there. So I'm just trying to fine tune this view a little more. Kind of like that, I think I like it. And the last thing I'll do here is, the most important thing in any shot is to define the camera height, right? Is a person standing or a person sitting? Those are the 2 key things that you want to always define. So the last thing I'll do here is see, you know, do I want somebody to feel like they're standing here or are they sitting on the chair, right? I'm gonna go something like in between here, like this. Also, key thing in this shot here, I wanna get this statue framed between those windows, right? So it means just taking this view here and just moving it. It looks like it's the bottom one here. Like that, until we get that statue nicely framed in my shot here, right? Okay, so let's try now the rendering. We have one sun on, which is the one here, right? Which is the one from the statue. Let's see how that looks. Oops. Now let's turn this off. And obviously that looks pretty bad. That sun is not bringing me any light into this space. So, you know, not good. So in that case, you know, we can definitely, let's go back to lights. So we'll turn off this sun. Again, like before, you know, let's test out the other suns. Let's turn this one on again and see what we get. That looks a little better here, but still our main focus is this area here and there's still no light at all there. So let's cancel that. Let's turn the sun off and let's try now the other sun we have here, which is the one for the main camera there, and see if this works. A little better, right? We do get more light into the space. But not, you know, I mean, actually not bad. We do get a nice statue here, but overall, we need more light in there. So none of these suns help us out, but this one is pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. So I'm gonna take and copy this sun here. So let's take this sun. Let's do shift. Let's put it here. We do copy, and we call this sun interior. Yeah, interior shot, let's say. All right, and then I'm looking here, right? So there's my camera. I want to get lighting here. So that means that this, we'll put this over here, right? And we'll try to align the sun with the camera, like this, right? So the sun is kind of parallel to my camera here, right? This is my camera, right? If you guys see it, that's my sun. So this way, we know the sun is coming through here. Now we have to see is how far we can get light into the space. And the problem here is this tree might block the light. So I'm gonna move the camera like this. Sorry, the sun. So we get now plenty of light between the two trees, right? And now, and we have definitely glass here. We have a wall there, and we'll see if we can get more light in there. And of course, to get more light inside the space, the angle of the sun has to be much lower, so we can penetrate a little farther inside. So let's try something like this. And of course, turn off the other sun before I forget. And we'll keep just this sun on. Okay, so we're getting a bit more light, not really as much as I want to, but, and because the sun is dimmer, so let's bring up the sun a little higher again. I mean, the main thing here is, as you guys know, when I put the sun lower, what happens to the light? It becomes what?
Warmer?
Warmer, but also becomes dimmer, right? There's less light, right? So as I go lower with the sun, it gets warmer, which is nice, but also becomes less bright, So that's the only thing, but this is where we can start to actually modify the sun, right? So right now, okay, I move the sun lower, right? I can make a quick guess, don't like it, what it looks like. So let's just move it a little bit here. Move it a little bit here. And we can see here the angle of the sun, right? Let's try again. That doesn't look bad at all. I mean, I like the shadows here, right? I like the shadows here, right? But the bad thing about this now, because the sun is so low to the ground, right? We lost light, right? So having, your own sun for this scene means that we could modify it, right? So I could go back to the sun, right? And I could go here to the properties, and I can double the intensity, right? Make it from 1 to 2, right? So now we gain back some light intensity, right? Let's try that. There, so now we gain back some light, right? So we can make up for the sun's, light source there. Here it doesn't look too bad. We get a nice shadow line here. We get some nice shadows there. It'd be nice if the sun was actually hitting the wall here because it's orange. For that to happen, we have to really lower the sun a lot more in our shot. So what do you guys think of this shot right now here, as it is currently? Would you guys try something different?
I feel like it looks good.
Yeah.
But I feel like the back area is like too dark.
Like here, right? Yes.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Let's see what we can do here.
Professor, can you have two suns on or only one?
We could, yes. I mean, technically, this is 3D Max, so we can do, whatever we want. We can have 5 suns, right? And yes, that's something that happens quite often, right? Where we actually create extra suns or extra lighting just to get a better shot, right? And it's not really lying, let me just give you a sample here. Let me do a quick search here. So I just type in my search here, photo shoot, right? Imagine they're photographing a model, they're photographing, I don't know, a building, right? Something, right? So there's something called studio lighting, right? So let's see here, this is a good sample here, right? Here's where the person goes, right? You don't just go there and click and take a picture, right? There is tons of light, above you, behind you. These lights, you never see them. They're called fill lights, right? And they're behind the camera, right? to fill in any gaps of shadows or dark areas that you typically cannot see, right? Let's see. Is the architecture photography setup? Okay, let's see what we have here. So yeah, we have a lot of things. Many are like this. These panels, right? These panels, are typically behind the camera, right? And they're there to either bounce back light, right? And bring it to the actual subject. So it's very normal, in any professional photography, whether it's a movie, you're shooting a building or a person, that you have tons of artificial lights behind the camera that you will never see to make it a perfect shot, right? First of all, right here in our shot here, this looks nice, but yes, I agree, this part looks pretty dark, right? And we could fix it later, because technically, remember that this scene, there's actually a lot of other lights that are there, right? It just, we haven't discussed artificial lights yet, right? If I look here at this image, right, there's a light there, right? There are a bunch of other lights throughout my scene here that will give it, there's a light here, right? And these lights are pointing to the ceiling here. Here, a light over here, right? So we still haven't made those lights that eventually there'll be a light over here, right? So if I go to draw here, there'll be a light over here in this area pointing this way, right? Upright to my scene, right? So that will give a little bit more light to that scene, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I mean, yeah, so definitely, I think for now it's okay, but because we still haven't discussed artificial lights in the class, right? And we are going to make a bunch of lights, right? We're gonna make lights that are on the ground pointing up, right? We're gonna make a light up here that's gonna become like a spotlight for the statue, right? There's gonna be lights over here, they're pointing up in the scene, right? So that's gonna give us a little bit of more light to our space, right? So I wouldn't worry about that too much for now, and later we'll come back to it and kind of correct those things as we go, right? Does that make sense? Sergio?
Yes, Professor.
Okay,
Okay.
but in case, I mean, in case, I guess it's a good thing to know, and we'll take a break soon, guys. We'll take a break at 10 o'clock. But let me just give you guys an example here. All right. So let me create, so a fill light is pretty much a box, right? So let's see if we can do here. I'm typing here fill light, photography, right? So they're typically, things like this, square light, obviously, like this pretty much. It's like a square shape, it could be a rectangle shape, it creates a very large white light to give it a natural effect, to give it natural settings, right, to the light. And we can actually create that here, right? So let me go off to the side here for a second. So let's go here to lights right here. Here we have the light, and right now we've only done one light, which is simply the V-ray sun, right? That's currently our only artificial light in the scene, right? So if we go now for this, let's go to V-ray, right? We've currently tried V-ray sun, right? Let's try the one here called V-ray light, right? And you see this light, the type, you can select this light to be a plane, a dome, a sphere, a mesh. You can make it different shapes. For now, I'm gonna make it into a plane, right? And then I can draw it here, right? So this is the size of the light. So whatever the size of this panel is, that entire panel is gonna give off light, right? Let's say something like this, right? And I can go here and say, this is gonna be, 36 feet. Let's make it now, I don't know, let's make it more like something more realistic, right? Let's make it, I don't know, let's make it 4 feet by 4 feet, right? This is my 4x4 light, right? Where is it? Here, there it is. And you can see, that it has an arrow, so you can see exactly which way the light is pointing, right? Like this. And the idea is this entire surface is gonna give off light. And then we have here, again, the size of the light, and we have, of course, the multiplier, which is the intensity, and we have the color. Right? We can give the light any color we want. Right? So for now, let's take this light here, right? And we know that back here is a little bit dark, right? So let's take this light where is it? There it is, right? And we know here that there's my camera, right? And these two areas are fairly dark, right? So I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna turn it. Like this, right? And the main thing is I don't want to see it here. So I'm going to move this thing a little bit here until I see it. Okay, so I don't see it anywhere there in my scene. Which means that it's probably too high up in my scene. All right, let me just fix this. There, obviously, it's all the way over here. So we got to make it lower. There it is, right? So there's a light. You see it over here? Okay, so definitely you don't want to have it there, but you want to have it right behind where you don't see it, right? And I might have two, one in this hallway. I'm going to copy this as an instance. And one in this hallway here, right? They're both kind of shining extra light there, right? So right now that their setting is 30 multiplier, right? Let's just see what that looks like right here. So let's render this again. Oops. Okay. Which probably won't be a big effect there, right? Although we do see a difference. Do you see a difference? What do you guys think? Do you see a
It
difference?
got really brighter.
It got really brighter, yes. You see it got much brighter here, right? And again, maybe now it's too bright, obviously this light here is more yellow. This light here is white. So it does give a different color of light. So what we can do now here is try to adjust this, right? So when you go here, when you pick the light and you go here to the properties, right? We can choose a color, right? Or we can choose a temperature, right? And temperature is kind of more natural because it'll give us a Kelvin number, right? You know what Kelvin means? What is Kelvin? What do you guys think? What does Kelvin mean?
Kelvin is like the Fahrenheit and Celsius, right? Like the way you measure temperature.
Kind of, yeah. Kelvin measures, the light temperature, right? So yes. And many times when you guys buy lights, or car lights, or they might say a Kelvin number, right? So the higher the number, the more white or blue the light becomes. The lower the number, the more orange, eventually go into red. So lower the number is a much hotter light. A typical Kelvin is something like 3000, which gives you a very warm light. So if I do 3, so you see how it becomes now like an orange, right? So if I do that, and I try again to render, let's say here, a little piece here. See what happens to this light here as it changes, right? So now we have a light that is now obviously more orange, right? Maybe too orange, right? So if it's too orange, we can go back and easily say, okay, this is too much. Okay, let's try Kelvin of 4000, make it a little bit more white. And now it's less orange, right? We can try again here. All right, not bad, starting to match my scene, right? And then the rest is really up to you, right? Do you want, if I turn this light off again, here's the on and off button, right? Let's see what this thing looked like originally, right? Like this, without any light right there. Like this, so it was pretty dark, right? We had a very dark spot over there, right? Once we put the light on, right? Let's say we have it on right now, and right now it's only at the default setting of 30. Watch what happens to this area here. Definitely became brighter, right? And the rest thing is to decide, how bright do you want this, right? I mean, I could make this light be, I don't know, 150, right? And then what I get here is this. So you don't always need a lot of light, maybe something very minimal, right? Enough to give you, this is probably too much, right? If you guys see this. And before we had 30, you know, maybe I'll keep it at 20, just a very subtle bit of extra light in this space. But, you know, this is what you would do, right, in 3D Max, and also what you do in real life, right? There's no such thing as a perfect lighting, you know. There's obviously natural light from the sun that you can kind of control. And then everything else is artificial lights that you decide where they go, and you create all those kind of shadows here. So again, for now, I'm okay with these shots, right? Like this. The main thing to think about when you have those lights in your scene, right, is that when you're taking a photograph, a rendering in the other cameras, you have to go back here and turn these things off, right? So when I'm done with these, select it, turn off, right? Otherwise, your other shots will look fairly strange, right? Does that make sense for this idea of fill lights? Yeah. Any questions?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. I guess, you know, let's take a break now, you know, before we keep going here. It's already 9:56. So let's take like a 10-minute break, and we'll continue a little bit. All right, guys.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you. All right, guys, let's continue here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so let's let me try the next camera we have here. I think it's the outer pool. Excuse me. So this, yeah, this is a very low shot, you know, for the pool. So this is a pretty cool shot. You know, we already have an actual chair there. So I think we're good here with chairs, you know. The only thing in this shot is to, you know, get a nice sun. And I think we can use this one over here, right? The one we had before. So let's try to select this sun and just turn it off. This is for the interior. And I'm gonna turn back the sun here, which is for the bookstore. I think that sun might work nicely for this shot also. Let me just like cancel this. All right. Okay, it doesn't look bad. You know, I think one thing that I will probably change here starting here is the, again, the waves, right? Just like the waves we did before in the other side, these seem to be a little bit too high. So let's go to this one here, which was the water exterior. And we'll do bump a 5. And then for the inner one, we did 5. Let's see if that will change the effect here. Okay, a little better. Yes, we can see more here. Again, it's okay for this shot to be, so ideally half that shot is water, right? And the other half will be, you know, the sky and the building. So this is kind of the effect of this shot, you know, somebody kind of being very low to the water, viewing out to the space here. So I think the trees look pretty good, you know. So not confused, these trees, you know, should be all red, but that's fine. Again, we could try and get some more shadows here, you know, along this wall, right, to make it more. That would just mean, you know, probably trying our own sun, right, so we get more shadows there. Otherwise, you know, I think it's a pretty cool shot. You know, I'm okay with this. If you guys want to try and put some more shadows here, it means just working with the sun, maybe lowering the angle, trying to use maybe a different sun, but all those things could definitely be, you know, worked out easily. Okay, that's pretty good for that sun. And then what's left here? We have the statue, which is this one here, right? So this one, there is one shot also here that is a nice shot that I believe has something like this. Let's see here. Well, we have this one over here, right? There we go. This one here is a nice shot. Has the chair right there, looking there. Again, this shot has really no shadow, so not a big deal. We can work with that, but at least get the same scene as there. So let's take this chair. We'll do instance, and then we'll just do a rotation to make it face the statue. Like that. And yeah, it's a little bit different. I think the angle's a little lower. We don't even see the actual top of the ceiling here. So let's see if we can fix that. I'm going to lower the angle of the camera here. So yeah, I'll leave a little bit of the ceiling because I do like the ceiling being a little bit here on top. And I'll move the camera now closer. Like that, yes. And we do see a little bit of the actual column. So I'll go like this. And then I'll move the camera to my right, like this. So in a way, I'm kind of using like this, right? If you guys see this one here, for the most part, we have the vertical column here, right? A little sliver of the space for the back. The wall, we have the sky, the ground, so it looks pretty close. We just gotta move our chair a little bit forward. And I think that'll be pretty good for this shot. With this, and a little bit to my right. And that's pretty close to what I have here, plus or minus. That's up, I think it's pretty good. Again, this shot has no really sun. Looks like a cloudy day. For us, let's see what it looks like here, the way it is. Again, it doesn't look too bad, because it's good that this part has a shape, because if the sun was sitting here, then you wouldn't be able to see the reflection of the statue here, right? So I think that's pretty good. I like the waves here. So, maybe for this shot, we'll leave it as it is, play of kind of dark and light, in the shot. That this is keeping with the, which sun is this? This is using the, this one here, which is the bookstore sun, right? But again, if you want to try a different sun, you're free to try those things. I think for now, this one looks pretty good like this. So I'll leave it there for this shot here. And again, that'll be our 6 shots for our scene, right? And as you can see, every class we kind of refine the shots. I think for now, from today's class, these shots are now fixed. I'm not doing any more camera movements. We're just gonna work on everything around the shots to make them better. But this way, I don't want to be later trying to move it left or right. Whatever I have now, it's my fixed shot for the rest of the of this project. Okay. The one thing I want to do here before the class ends, is create that curtain, right? And we have a curtain that is just, let's see, where is it here? So we can find it here. Again, we can kind of see it here. It's kind of blocking that area there. No, we don't see it here. Well, this gives an idea of the material. It's like a red material. Here we go. It's a good sample here. So there's the curtain, right? It covers, again, in this case, the curtain is completely closed. So, it blocks all this light. And for me, maybe I'll make it just, let's make it enough so it just goes from the carpet all the way to here, right? To where the carpet ends, right? And we can always later move it left and right or try to make it smaller, right? But let's try to make that curtain here. So first of all, let me isolate some things so we're not looking at everything in this scene. So let's get close here. And of course, I need this, the carpet, right? I think that's the main thing. Let's just work on the carpet here, because that will give me the size of the curtain, which is pretty much, along here, right? And how are we gonna draw the curtain? Like, how do you guys think that we can actually build this curtain here? Any ideas? What do you guys think? No? Okay. All right, let's see here then. So let's, again, this is pretty abstract. I'm gonna zoom in as much as possible so I can see here. And let's go here, right? We're gonna use the second tab over here, right? Which is the splines, right? And then under splines here, we're gonna use NURBS curves, right? And we're gonna use a point curve, right? So a point curve is this, simply you click, you know, it creates different things, right? As you click, right? Like this, and then when you're done, you get a curve like this, right? So we're gonna use that, right? So again, I'm gonna get a little close to here and point curve, right? And that's it. I'm gonna start kind of doing this. It's very abstract, right? This, right? They don't have to be all the same size. You know, again, it's a curtain that's being folded. So they could be different sizes. Eventually, when you're done, it will all be combined together, right? And it'll make everything smoother, right? So there's really no way you can go wrong here, right? Everything's very abstract. Again, we're not gonna make the whole curtain be open. Oops. You're trying to make some type of folds. Oops, it's a little tricky here. And right now it might look like it's straight, right? But it doesn't really matter. It won't be straight when you're done. And for now, I think I'm not gonna cover the whole thing. And I think actually I'm making mine too small, yes. So that's actually not good. So I think it's better to have like this, the whole thing visible like this. So let's try again. That's much better. And again, I'm trying to rush it because of the class, but you guys can, you know, maybe take a little bit more time when you make these kind of folds here. And you're trying to fold them into each other. And your finger starts to get tired very soon with this. I think that's pretty good, you know. Let me go here, finish here, come back here, and right? And you see afterwards, you know, it combines everything together, right? Like this. So we get all these folds that are come like this. They're very abstract, just perfectly fine, right? The next, once we have this done here, the next thing is to, let's, you know, go back to and isolate. And let's select some parts here. Let's select, you know, so we can see better, right? Let's go to a view that we can see this. So where's my test camera? I might have lost it. So, you know, let's do cameras. I'm gonna take this camera here, just copy for now. I'm gonna put it here. And we're gonna call this test. And it's gonna be facing in this direction so we can see the curtain. Okay, so obviously we can't see it now because it's probably on the ground. Let's go here. Okay, this is a good shot here. So let's pick the curtain here. All right, let's make this view a little bigger. And I'm gonna, so there's my line, right? Right now it's kind of this thing. The first thing, this is a 2D line, right? So how can we make it into a curtain? What could we apply to this? Come on, you guys should know. So if you're working, let's say in Rhino, how would you turn this into a 3D element?
You extrude it?
Exactly, yeah. So we're gonna pick this, right? We go to the properties, right? And just the way that we apply to this, UV map and map scatter, we're gonna apply an extrude modifier. So under the list here, if you go down here, there's one here called extrude, right? We'll apply that, and then afterwards see amount, we can increase the amount here, right? And we can extrude this, right? The main thing is, let's now move this thing to be sitting just above the carpet, right? And of course, as we go higher here, we don't want it to go past the ceiling. So it is hard to do it here. So let's just, I'm gonna pick the ceiling, pick this, and pick the carpet and do isolate. And I look at it here in the front view. So first of all, the bottom is, a few inches above the ground, which is fine. And here we need it to be, again, going just below the ceiling here. And I forgot, is this thing all the way up or not? Let's see. 1 second, I seem to have lost my folder. I have that. All right, let's do it again. Let's see. Where is the model here? Here. Okay, so it is pretty much going, yeah, pretty much to the top of the ceiling right here. That's pretty good. Okay. Oops. So again, it could be a few things above there. So that's pretty good here. All right, so that's good for that. So now I can just take this piece and do isolate, right? And let's look at it in detail here. So again, this curtain now, see, again, a curtain is very abstract, so you can go wrong in how you make these folds, right? The only thing that's not really gonna work for us here is that currently when I did extrude, right, this curtain, it has no what, which is bad for us.
There's no thickness.
Exactly. So having no thickness is always a problem with any surface in 3D Max, right? So we gotta give it some thickness. So for that, we can apply another modifier. So we'll select it again. We already applied extrude, right? If we go here, keep going down here, there's one called shell, right? So a shell applies an inner extrusion and an outer extrusion. So you can decide you wanna make it thicker on the outside, or you wanna make it thicker on the inside, or you wanna make both inside and outside thicker. So it's called shell over here, right? And we see here, we have the inner amount and we have the outer. So if I go back to 0 here, we have 0 and 0, but we can say, okay, I'm gonna make it a 0.125, like an 1/8 inch on the inner amount. And I'm gonna make it a 0.125 inch on the outer amount. So that'll make it a 1/4 inch, right? It's 1/4 inch too thick for curtain, probably, right? I mean, this is it's a velvet curtain, so it's much thicker, but I'll do it here by kind of 1/32 on the outside and kind of 1/32 on the outside, like this, So now it has, at least a thickness to the actual curtain here, right? The next thing that we need here is, and I don't have this material, is we gotta find a red velvet seamless. I'm going to cookies. Yeah, seamless texture. Here we go. And see what we have here. 2/0 size large, right? Yeah, some of them might have like a watermark. That one doesn't look too. It has a no, that one doesn't work. That one doesn't look bad at all. Looks a good size. So let's just, I'm gonna do save image as. I'll save it under Friday. Let's see, class model. I'll save it here, right? And at the same time, I'm also gonna save it into your class folder. So you guys have it. Save image again. I'll put it this time in the Friday, Arch Friday. So here's your class folder, class material, and I'll just drop it here. So you guys have it. So you guys can take it from here. Actually, no, I'll put it here, Barcelona Pavilion. Here's your other materials. I'll save it here. So you guys should also have it. And this thing looks like this. I mean, it's pretty good. I don't see really any watermarks here, so that looks like a pretty good material. And now let's just use it in our scene. So let's go back to materials, right? We don't need to do much here. It is velvet, so technically it's a little glossy, but we're not gonna worry about that's such a minor thing. So let's take this one here. Let's take what do we have? Let's take this tile. Let's drop it here as a copy. We'll call it red curtain. We go down here and just switch the black tile for this red thing. So now we have this one. We'll drag it here, right? Next, we'll do, again, select it. We'll do UV map. This case, I guess technically it's a planar surface, so we'll leave it as that. Well, let's try box. Box looks better. And we'll do map scalar. And then we can play with the scale of this, where there's more, less. I guess higher is probably better. So I'm gonna try 6 feet scale. That looks pretty good, you know. Again, technically this has a bump, but it's such a small thing that I doubt you're gonna ever be able to see a bump in this, right? So I think like this is pretty good. I mean, if we look at it here, again, we're gonna have the shadows of the space and those things. So I think it looks pretty good like this. All right, so that's my, I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna change the name here from curve 01 to curtain, right? So this one becomes clear. Let's do and isolate. And there it is. We can always say, you know, I wanna move it here or here, right? We can play with this as we go, right? For now, I'm gonna, you know, block because the curtain only exists from here. So I'm just gonna block about here. So from my shots, you know, really you won't see it anywhere. Looks like the only shot that you will actually see it is from the entrance, right? And that's where it becomes, you know, actually a nice shot here of the curtain there, right? Let's see here. So we have it from, let me turn off the sun. We have, what is this one? Statue, stair. So I'm gonna turn this on again. And let's see what this looks like here. Again, it won't be seen as clear because it's behind the glass, you know, so it's more the effect of the curtain being there. So again, once it's done, I think that will look pretty good. But let's also look at it from the inside here for a second. And I guess I have my test camera that I can use here, right? Let's see what this looks like here. I mean, again, this, you know, there's pretty much no light here. So for this to work, you know, you want to get more light. So I mean, you're definitely free to add another camera if you want to try to capture this curtain here. This sun really doesn't do it justice, you know, because it's all dark, but overall, you know, it's a very small detail that this space has. It's pretty much the only color this building has is this red curtain. So it might also, when the light shines here, it would also probably change the color of the ceiling because when the light hits a red curtain, it's going to bounce off more of a light pink color to the space, and it's going to make it much warmer to the space, right? So it could look pretty good, you know, depending on the light of the space here. For now, you know, I think no sun might affect, you know, maybe if I turn this sun off and I put back this sun, which is the one I had for the interior, it might give it a better light here because the sun is much stronger. There we go. But still not so much, you know, obviously for this to look nice, the light will have to come from this direction and be pointing towards the curtain. But at least now from this light, we start to see shadows between the different folds, which is a nice thing of this curtain, right? So, I mean, the only way to get light from that side is somehow the sun is coming from the other direction. which means from this side. And I guess it's possible because all this is glass here, right? And that's glass. So, let's just give it a quick try here. So if I take this sun, which I know is already a bright sun, because I doubled the intensity from 1 to 2, I'll do copy. Let's put it around here. And we know that this is glass, that's glass, that's glass. So there's plenty of ways, and the curtain is right here, right? So there's plenty of glass for the light to pass through it, right? Yeah, these trees might be a problem, but let's see. And let's turn this light off. I'm gonna call this sun, I don't know, curtain. See if we can get more light here. Not really. Yeah, looks like that sun is really. You would really, I guess, have to either remove these trees, right? If you look at it here, or make this thing really low like this. It will have to be probably like an evening light for this light to be able to pass through these trees here. Let's see if we can do it here. Like this, very low to the ground, right? Make it lower here. And that we'll probably have to take this light source and make it even stronger. So from 2, let's make it 3. So we can push more light to get all the way back here into space. All right, so now we're getting light passing through the trees. But again, now it's so low to the ground that it's pretty much, becoming very low in the sunset. So, and again, the main problem here is probably those trees are blocking the light. So we have 2 options here. We could simply delete those trees for this scene. We can move them to the bottom, so we don't see them. Or let's see. Yeah, or we could say, okay, so if I click on this tree here, right? This tree is called group 10, right? But let's call this tree, so it's clear. Let's call it tree 1. Let's click this one here and call it tree 2, right? And now that I know the name of these trees, how could I make these trees not affect my shadows here? What could I do? And I did it before. What do you guys think? Think about the sky dome, right? Everything we did with the sky dome, right?
I think you excluded
Yes.
the sun.
We can, so for this sun, right? This is a very specific sun, right? We're gonna select it, right? We're gonna go to exclude, right? And now before everything's called group 1, 2, 3, makes it hard to figure out which one is which. So, but I did change the name of those groups, right? And call them tree 1 and tree 2. Move those to the right, right? So now those trees are technically invisible to this sun, right? So the light should just go past through it, much more nicer. So let's see if that makes a difference. Yes, we get much more light. Actually, it looks pretty nice. And again, and to every other sun, those trees are there, right? But for this shot, for this specific sun, it's not, right? And actually, I like that a lot. So let's just, we'll finish the class off with this, but let's just expand on this. Let me just make the sun a little bit more like this. Let's increase it from 3 to 4, make it a little bit stronger. And let's see how we can create it. This is going more for like an evening shot, of the scene. And we've already had to increase this sun in intensity about 4 times. Every other sun is 1. This one here is 4, just because the angle is so low on the ground that it becomes, but again, this gives a nice effect, and it definitely reminds you that it's at sunset, scene, right? And, we see more clear the folds, we get some nice shadows. And this could technically become also a pretty nice shot, Right now, it still has a long ways before finished rendering. Still trying to figure out all the light, but this could be a nice shot. What do you guys think? Any ideas? Do you like this shot or I'm gonna just change the camera here so you guys can see more. So we can see more of the sun. Okay, like this. Let's look at this shot here and run this one. So again, this is going for like an evening shot in my scene. So we can see here the lighting, all the very long shadows. That's pretty nice. We see a very intense light over here. So this again, and then we get some pretty nice light happening here. So again, because the idea of this rendering is to eventually be able to create a day rendering, an evening rendering, and a night rendering, right, of the same shot. So at least now we know how to create a daytime, and this is now going towards how to create an evening rendering, which simply means lowering the angle of the sun and increasing the intensity of the sun, right, from 1 to, it could be 3, 4, 5, whatever you guys think will create that effect of the evening shot, right? Does that make sense? You guys
Yes,
good
that
there?
makes sense.
Yeah, anyone have any questions or comments? No? Are you guys good? Yeah? Okay, I hope you guys are. So I think, we'll finish the class here today. This is already pretty good things for you guys to try. So again, for the next class, you guys are working in creating, refining those shots, so go to every camera, insert a chair in every shot, trying to match what I have, and if you have to, you could make a sun for every shot so you can get very custom shadows, right? And, as you change suns, don't forget to turn off the previous sun, right? And definitely start to experiment with making like an evening shot, with one of the suns here to create something like this, right? And of course, make your curtain here, which will be pretty simple, I hope. And then we'll look at those in the next class, So yeah, if there's no other comments or questions, then we'll finish the class here today.
Can you help me out with mine for a little bit, please?
Sure, right now or?
I mean, yeah, once you dismiss class, I guess.
It's something that, could I put it on the video or no, or something
Oh,
separate?
Yeah, I guess.
Because again, whatever I help you, it could help also other students with their problems if they have it, right?
Yeah, sure.
So do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, give me one
All right, let me
second.
stop sharing mine.
I have it open, but oopsie. Where's Zoom? Oh, am I still in Zoom? Can you hear me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, where is it?
Okay.
All right. So I don't know why everything looks like this.
Okay, I see you. Okay.
But well, my problem was can I move this? Yeah. The sky. Turn on, please. Yeah, it's a little slow. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right.
There you go. So every time I render, it looks just dark. I don't know if you saw my renderings in Dropbox. I don't think so.
Well, right now, are you using this sky to render?
What is that? Yeah. So I guess.
Yeah, because this sky is not the one that you will use to render, right? This sky is the one you will use to kind of to figure out what it looks like. You will use the other material, the
white one, right?
The V-Ray, yes, light material to render, because that one actually has a self-illumination.
Yeah, I tried both, but none of them work. I'm gonna just change it now. So
right, let's try put on the other one that looks white, and we'll see what white doesn't look like.
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, no responding. Yeah, I mean, I feel
Yeah.
bad for whoever is here because my laptop is horrible. So
No problem at all.
I think this one, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So yeah, this is the problem there. You see that
Oh.
look, you said you have it at 75, right? But you
Mhm.
see where it says no map, you haven't added the actual sky map there. So click under no map, right? And then go down to bitmap. Not that one. Keep going down. Yeah, keep going down. That one, yes. And find the same material as that sky.
I do not know where that is. Pretty sure it's Skull Sky, right?
Maybe just change to tile so you can see the actual materials.
I don't know. I'm sure I have it. Just don't remember where.
Yeah, so this is, you have to get organized with the materials. So whatever you use, try to put it all in the same folder, right?
Yeah, it's just that since I have the remote control thing, so I have it.
Yeah, forget it. Yes, yeah. It's
Yeah, I
always,
have it on my
I think I told you the
laptop.
same thing
I have
before,
it.
yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why. But I don't see it.
I think you had the same problem before last week, with this, and I think because you're working with the remote, it tends to lose the links, right, to these things.
Yeah, it does
So
very
you gotta make sure
often.
that whatever you're working, that everything's
have
linked
it.
properly. Yes.
I guess I'll just put this one. I'll change it later. I don't know where I have it.
Tree.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
It's not gonna work with tree at all. Okay.
Oh, all right, nice.
Yeah, just pick that. Just do right click there, right click and view the yes.
I wonder where I have it now. Oh well. Did it work?
Yeah, but you put a black tile, so that's not really gonna.
You told me to put the black tile. What do you mean?
No, just open that, then right click it and show the tile. It means right now you're showing list. That means I don't want to see that. I want to see the actual picture of the material, not the list. So click inside the space, right click it.
Here?
No, above.
Here.
Yes, no, in the white area below that.
Here?
Yeah, yes, right click it. Go to no, keep going lower. Exit from there. Yeah.
Exit from here.
No, yeah, there. Right click it. Okay, go to view. Change to large icons. Okay, so now you can see the icons that are there, and we can, or maybe do small icons so you can see quicker. Yeah, small so we can see.
That's what I had. All right.
Okay, then go to medium size. Okay, perfect. Okay, there, and let it load and see if we can see the tree, the sky somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't have
there.
it. It's probably like in downloads or
I think
something.
before you had changed the name of the sky, but okay, let's see.
Yeah, no, it's nowhere here. Like, because I'm pretty sure the names is Sky.
No, yeah, I guess it's not yet. So it must be somewhere else. Maybe
Yeah,
your downloads, my documents.
Let me just check something real quick. Maybe if it's here, then oh yeah, it's this one, right? All right.
Yes.
All right, so no, it's PC. And it was this one, the weird name. Oh, I guess it wasn't named Sky.
Okay, yeah, so yes. All right, so that should be working now if you do a rendering.
All right. Oh yeah, nice, look at that.
Okay, perfect.
Yay, it worked.
Those are the problems with the VDI, yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
All right, oh yeah, I'll just email Emmanuel, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, because that shouldn't be happening, yeah, with the license, that should be for the whole semester, so I'm sure we can figure it out pretty fast.
All right, and I sent you an email also because I wanted to talk about maybe about advisement.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Okay, let's see. Are you okay? So that's a different topic.
Yeah.
Guys, for now, we'll finish the class. I'll put the video up, today, and you guys can hopefully do it, and we'll see everything updated for the next class.